Hello students, we will continue our previous lecture with example 3.4 in this lecture. In the last lecture we did example 3.3 and the topic temperature dependence of resistivity, where we have seen or written this formula. Now in this example we have a platinum resistance thermometer. It is given that the resistance at the ice point, now we know that the temperature at ice point is 0 degree centigrade, is 5 ohm, and the resistance at steam point means 100 degree centigrade, the resistance is 5.23 ohms. The thermometer, okay, you have to see that in the question they have given the value 5.39. While using the formula they use the value 5.3 ohms. So either you have to change the value in the solution or you change the question. So we are changing the value in the question. Instead of 5.39 we make a correction 5.3 ohms. Now the thermometer is inserted in a hot bath. Now hot bath means where the temperature is changing, where the platinum thermometer is placed. So we have an arrangement or a container in which a thermometer is kept in some appropriate fluid, or say a water. Now as the temperature of the fluid, or say let us take for simplicity a water, the temperature of the water is changing, then this thermometer can measure the temperature of that fluid or a water. So a hot bath is simply an arrangement where a different fluids is used and its value is determined at different temperatures. So we can find out the resistance of any fluid using this platinum thermometer. It is given that when the thermometer is inserted in a hot bath, resistance of the platinum wire is 5.795 ohms. Calculate the temperature of a bath. So when the resistance of platinum wire becomes this much, what should be the temperature of a bath? So let us take a simple container. Now this is a simple container in which we insert this thermometer. Now this container is insulated or having a insulating wall. So this is insulated. So this is a simple arrangement of a bath. In this bath we have a fluid. So this is the fluid. Now as we heat up this fluid, the temperature of the fluid will rise. As a result, the resistance of this thermometer, which is a platinum wire, also changes. So we can determine what is the temperature of this bath. So this is a simple arrangement. Now as we heat up or as we change a temperature, the temperature of the fluid will increase and the thermometer shows a reading. So we can find out its resistance, or if the resistance is given, I can find out the temperature of that bath. Here the reference are given as a steam point and an ice point. Now see, alpha is not given. If alpha is given, then we can directly use this formula. Instead of that, they have given you the two reference point. So let us give the symbol. At ice point, resistance is R0, so that is equal to 5 ohms. And let us assume T0 is ice point, so T0 is 0 degree centigrade. So temperature is this much. At steam point, resistance, let us give a symbol R100, that is equal to 5.23 ohms, and temperature at steam point, let us name it T100, is 100 degrees centigrade. So alpha value is not given. So the first step, using these two reference given, I have to find out the alpha, and then after finding the alpha, I can use this formula where I can take a reference, either a steam ice point or a steam point. So this is the question. These two are the references. The platinum wire resistance is given when the thermometer is inserted in the hot bath, and you have to calculate what is the temperature of this bath, because as the temperature of this bath will increase, the resistance will also increase. Clearly the resistance has increased from 5 to 5.23 to 5.7. So our temperature should be more than 100 degrees centigrade. So let us find out the alpha in the first step. So I can write that we know that, now I use the formula R100 is equal to R0 1 plus alpha T100 minus T0. So let us use this formula. Now it is very easy to calculate the alpha first. So this calculation will be left as an exercise, but R100, so I can write R100 to be 5.23. So 5.23 is equal to, this is 5.23 equal to R0, that is 5, 1 plus alpha 100 minus 0, that is the temperature, and therefore 5.23 upon 5 is equal to 1 plus 100 alpha, and therefore 100 alpha is equal to 1. So we take this minus 1 on this side, so it becomes 5.23 upon 5 minus 1. So therefore 10 alpha is equal to 0.23 upon 5, and therefore alpha is equal to 0.23 upon 500 degrees centigrade inverse. So this is the value of alpha. So first step is, using ice point and steam point, you find out the value of alpha. Now after finding this alpha, I take the reference either as a ice point or a steam point. So we know that for a ice point the temperature is 0 degrees centigrade, so it will be better to take a reference now at as 5 ohms or 0 degrees centigrade. Now let T be temperature of bath and R is equal to 5.794 ohms. 5.795. Now R of T is equal to R0 1 plus alpha T minus T0. See here I have taken the reference as R0, that is ice point. Alpha is known to us now by this equation 1. You find out its value. You may also take steam point as a reference. So here I have to write 100. So calculation will be lengthy if I take reference temperature as 100. So I have taken the reference as ice point. Now therefore I simply substitute the value 5.795 is equal to 5 plus, sorry, within bracket 1 plus alpha. Now it is T minus 0 degree centigrade. T minus, this is 0 degree centigrade. So it becomes simply T alpha. So therefore 5.795 divided by 5 is equal to 1 plus T alpha, and therefore we simply do the calculation. Whatever value comes out for this minus this, so T alpha is equal to 5.795 upon 5 minus 1, so that goes there. So this is equal to 5.795 minus 5, that is 0.795 divided by 5, that is T alpha. So T is equal to 0.795 upon 5 alpha. Now if you have found this value, you substitute alpha here, or it should be 0.795 upon 5 into alpha is 0.23 divided by 500. So we substitute all these values and find out the temperature of a heat bath. So you substitute all this value, and whatever answer comes, it is in degree centigrade. So this is how we apply this formulas. Now let us come to exercise having 3.5, 3.6 and 3.7, which are generally the direct application of the formula. Now in exercise question number 5, at 27 degrees centigrade the resistance is 100 ohms. So we take this as a reference. So R0 is equal to 100 degrees centigrade, and we take a reference temperature to be 27 degrees centigrade. Now see, you have to always check the resistivity. If the resistivity is in degree centigrade inverse, no need to convert this temperature. Otherwise, we have to convert it into Kelvin. You have to find out temperature. If R is equal to 170 ohms, that is T is a question mark. Clearly the resistance has increased, so your temperature should be greater than this. So directly you write a formula. We know R is equal to R0 1 plus alpha T minus T naught. So you substitute this value. So 117 is equal to 100 1 plus alpha T minus 27 degree centigrade, where alpha is given. So first thing is this 117 divided by 100, then we bring this minus sign at this side, that is equal to alpha T minus 27. So it will be easier if we, instead of opening the bracket, we do this. So it becomes 117 minus 100, that is 17 upon 100. Now alpha comes in denominator, so 117 upon 100, alpha is equal to T minus 27. So T comes out to be 17 upon 100 alpha plus 27, that is equal to whatever the value comes, you substitute and find out the answer. So the direct application of the formula. Similarly, again it is a direct formula. The length of a conductor is given, or a wire, a cross-sectional area is given, the resistance is given, and you have to find out the resistivity. So clearly we know that resistance is equal to rho L by A, and therefore rho is equal to RA upon L. So R is given, A is given, L is given. You substitute these values. Now question number 7. Again, the resistance is 2.1 ohm at 27.5 degrees centigrade, and the resistance is 2.7 ohm at 100 degrees centigrade. determine alpha, again you use this formula. So again it is an MCQ. We know R is equal to R naught 1 plus alpha T minus T naught. We take here the reference, say at 27.5 degrees centigrade. So R, it becomes 2.7 is equal to R naught, that is 2.1 plus 1 plus alpha. T is written as 100 degrees centigrade minus 27.5 degree centigrade. So again we take 2.7 divided by 2.1 minus 1 is equal to 100 minus 27.5. So that is if we take 27, it comes out to be 73. So 72.5. So it is 72.5 alpha. So simply you have to do the mathematical calculation, and 2.7 minus 2.1 divided by 2.1 is equal to 72.5 alpha, and therefore 0.6 divided by 2.1 into 72.5, that is equal to alpha. And you have to remember this alpha, because we have taken this in centigrade, it should be centigrade inverse. So don't forget to write the unit, whether it is Kelvin inverse or a centigrade inverse. So this is a simple example 3.7. Now see exercise question number 8. It is similar to example 3.3. There we have an electric toaster. Here we have again an alloy nichrome which is connected to 230 volt and the current flowing is 3.2 ampere. This current settled to a steady value 2.8 ampere. So as we know, when we switch on any device, it takes time for heating up, like a iron or electric toaster or a water heating coil. So find the steady temperature. If the room temperature is 27 degrees centigrade, so generally when the current flows initially, the temperature is a room temperature that we have seen in example 3.3. So in this case also, initially, again you have to remember that suppose this is a resistance, a device, whether it is an electric toaster or it is an electric iron or whether it is a water heating coil. All these things uses the principle of the heating effect of current. So whenever current flow through any resistance, the electron inside the conductors collide with the ions. The ions oscillate with a large amplitude and they collide with the wall of container, due to which that device become heat up. So we use this heat as an advantage. Like friction is a necessary evil, so it has advantage as well as disadvantage. Similarly, when the current flows through a circuit, its disadvantage is the resistance or a conductor gets heat up. So there are certain devices like electric iron, electric toaster, oven or a water heating coil. They use this heat for our daily life or for different application. So initially, when the current is passing through the resistance, the current is assumed to be very high, and later on, as this current starts flowing, the temperature of this coil or the resistance increases, and as temperature increases, the resistance also increases, and clearly as the resistance increases, then the current should decrease, and then it achieve a steady value. The temperature becomes steady, the resistance becomes steady, and the current in the circuit is also steady. And initially, when we talk about this current, the temperature is assumed to be a room temperature. So let T1 be the temperature when current I1 flow through resistance, say R1. So let T1 be the temperature when current I1 flows through resistance R1 connected to 230 volt supply. According to Ohm's law, so now R1 can be found with the formula V upon I1. So that will be equal to 230 divided by 3.2 ampere. So we will find out this value. So this value I find out using the calculator. 230 divided by 3.2, so it comes out to be 71.87 ohms. So this is the initial resistance. So you remember this concept, current takes some time to become steady. In MCQ you have to remember, as soon as the circuit is switched on, the current flowing through the circuit is greater. Then after some time, the device heat up, the temperature increases, so the resistance increases, and the current achieve a steady value. That is what we have discussed in example 3.3. Now same example it is there, but the language has been changed. So this is our initial resistance. Now it is given that the current settled to a steady value 2.8 ampere. It clearly the current is decreasing. So after some time, current settles due to increase in after some time current settled due to increase in resistance and then we achieve steady temperature. So that this is all about the heating effect of an electric current. This is all about the heating effect of electric current. So after some time current settled due to increase in resistance, and this increase in resistance is also due to increase in temperature, and then we achieve steady temperature, steady current, everything in the circuits settled down. Now I2 is equal to 2.8 ampere. So R2, that is a new resistance because the current in the circuit has changed. Supply remains same, that is 230 volt. Therefore R2 is equal to V upon I2, that is equal to 230 divided by 2.8. Clearly the current has decreased, so the resistance will increase. So it is 230 divided by 2.8, so it comes out to be 82.14 ohms. So clearly you see that the resistance of the coil increases because the electrons are continuously colliding and their kinetic energy is converted into the potential energy of ions, due to which the amplitude of the potential, due to which the amplitude of oscillation of the ions increases and the coil gets heat up. So this is the concept of the heating effect of an electric current. Now we have R1, R2, T1 that is 27 degrees centigrade, then you have to find out T2. So we know that R2 is equal to R1 within bracket 1 plus alpha T2 minus T1. Now see, we simply substitute this value. So R2 is 82.14 is equal to R1 71.87 within bracket 1 plus alpha. Alpha we will substitute in the end. T2 minus T1, that is 27 degrees centigrade. So we substitute all these values and do the necessary calculation. I am doing this calculation. Therefore, 82.14 divided by 17.87 minus 1 is equal to alpha T2 minus 27 degree centigrade. So this can be written as 82.14 minus 71.87, that is equal to 10.27 divided by 71.87 is equal to alpha T2 minus 27, and therefore T2 minus 27 is equal to 10.27 upon 71.87 into alpha. So alpha is 1.70 into 10 raised to minus 4. So this can be written as 10 raised to minus 4 is taken in the numerator into 10 raised to 4 divided by 71.87 into 1.70. See, I am doing this calculation because due to this alpha value, many students do the wrong calculation at this point. So we have to move step by step. So the calculation is done. So T2 minus 27 is equal to, now I will write 10.27, that is 10.27 multiply by 10 raised to 4, that is 10,000. 10 raised to 4 will be 10,000. So I will write this as 102700 divided by 71.87 into 1.70. So now this can be easily calculated. So divided by 71.87, then again it is divided by 1.70. So it comes out to be 840 upon 56. So T2 is equal to 840.56 plus 27 degree, that is 867.56 degree centigrade. So this is the temperature when the coil or the current in the circuit will become steady. Whatever value is given, that a steady current was 2.8 ampere. So this is the concept of the heating effect of the coil. So clearly you simply remember these things. Any conductor, now generally we take a nichrome wire. So as soon as I connect any conductor to a source, the current takes some time to become steady. You remember this thing. So if it is asked whether the current is greater or less than as soon as the circuit is switched on, you have to remember that a current flowing have large value initially at a room temperature. We assume that a conductor will not get heat up immediately. So the current flowing is large or greater. Then as the electrons start flowing inside the conductor, they keep on colliding, their kinetic energy will be converted into potential energy, so the device or a conductor heat up. Now as they heat up, that is, temperature is increasing, so the resistance increases. As resistance increases, the current start decreasing, and after some time the current becomes steady, then the resistance becomes steady, and the temperature, all the three physical quantities become steady after some time. So in this example, after some time, the steady current is less than the initial current. This current is assumed to be at a room temperature. Then the steady resistance was found to be 82.14, and the steady temperature is found to be 867 degree centigrade. So this is about the heating effect. Now let us see MCQ, which is question number 19 in our textbook. They have given the option also. So the first MCQ is, alloy have less resistivity than their consequent metals. So we know that alloy is made up of different metals. So clearly from the graph it was also clear that the resistivity of conductor tends to 0 at 0 Kelvin, while at 0 Kelvin the resistivity of alloy was non-zero. So clearly the alloy will have greater resistivity than their consequent metals. You can also refer table number 3.1 in our textbook, that is on page number 102. So you will see that the resistivity of the metal is less as compared to that of an alloy. Or it is also common sense that alloy is a mixture of different constituent metals, so its resistivity should be greater. Now the temperature coefficient of alloy. Now this is inversely proportional to resistivity, that should be a smaller. So temperature coefficient of alloy is smaller as compared to the metals. Now see this relation also. If I have to find out the alpha in the terms of the change in resistivity with respect to temperature, we know that the resistivity changes with respect to temperature. So I can write this equation as rho is equal to rho naught plus rho naught alpha T minus rho naught alpha T naught. So I am simply opening the bracket. Now suppose I want to find out the resistivity, change in resistivity with respect to temperature. So differentiating this with respect to temperature. So d rho upon dt, that is change in resistivity with temperature. Now this the derivative method can be used in few MCQ. So this will be equal to rho naught is constant, so 0. Rho naught alpha, derivative of t is 1, minus this, again constant term, reference temperature is also constant. So alpha is equal to 1 upon reference resistivity d rho by dt. So this is another formula for a alpha, which is 1 upon the resistivity at a reference temperature to the change in resistivity with respect to temperature, or you can say d rho upon dt is equal to rho naught alpha. Now clearly the resistivity is more for an alloy, so 1 upon the greater value of the resistivity, so its temperature coefficient is smaller or less than the constituents metal. The third is, what about the resistivity of alloy with respect to temperature? So it remains almost constant. So we have seen from the graph also that as the temperature increases, the resistivity will also increase. So you can say the resistivity of an alloy does not depend on the temperature. So it is independent of a temperature, or resistivity remains constant. So whatever option is given, if it is constant, constant, otherwise it is an independent. Then the resistivity of an insulating material amber is 10 raised to 22, 10 raised to 23 times greater than metal. Now this you have to remember the value, simply you have to memorize this value. So the resistivity of amber is about 10 raised to 22 times, or 10 raised to 22 times greater than that of the metal. So this is what we have for today's topic, where we did the numericals related to the temperature dependence of resistivity or the heating effect. So the concepts of the formula temperature dependence of resistivity or temperature dependence of resistance and the heating effect of an alloy or the conductors were discussed with the help of this numericals. Have a good day.